Hello, everybody, and welcome to our day early comic review show. I'm Jason,
I'm Andy.
and we're with Infinity Flux Comics out of Chattanooga, Tennessee, where every Monday, after the comics have been delivered and we're done bagging and boarding them, we divide them up. Andy and I read them, and we go over the ones that we think most people want to hear about. We're going to do sort of spoiler light reviews, meaning we're going to tell you first appearances, sort of major collectability reasons why you may want the issues. But more than that, we're going to go over what these are about, especially the number ones. It's
hmm
hard when you walk in your comic store and there's like 10 new number ones to know what really are they about past what you see on the cover. Which ones do you think you really want to pick up? And that's what we're here for. So we have a little bit of a smallish week, probably because the holiday that has happened. Happy New Year, everyone. This is our first show of
Yeah,
2025.
you should have brought some of the poppers and all that. Being our first one back.
I'd also like to welcome Andy back to the show from his
Yay!
vacation. Thank goodness I do not have to do this alone anymore. That last Monday was just, it was brutal. So I think today we're going to go over about 18 comics. The first few are in front of us. We're going to show all their incentives and variants and things of that sort. Yeah, all said and done, about 18 comics, and then we're going to mention some other ones.
Yeah, we didn't get because of shipping and holidays and all that. We're expecting all of our diamond
Mhm.
more indie books coming in tomorrow. So
Yeah, we'll still talk about them, but we don't have the indie ones to show. But we do have all the Marvel, we do have all the DC.
yes,
So without further ado, what are we starting with?
probably I would say this is the biggest book of the week, right? Like I feel like this is you
I would
know
agree with you. If I mean Batman's
Batman,
got his
yeah,
thing,
he's
but
he's got his permanent throne at the top,
yeah,
but this one is really big. So this is Scarlet Witch #1. This is a new ongoing Scarlet Witch title from Steve Orlando, and the art is by Sarah Pacelli. She was your original artist on Miles Morales when he was introduced, so that's really cool. Now, I feel like since Scarlet Witch had her previous series, she has become a way bigger character because of WandaVision
right.
and just she's been incorporated in more things. So I love that she now has her own title. I feel like this is a long time coming. So, what is this one about? It's really interesting. As I was reading, I was reminded of the solicitation that uh, Wanda has now opened up he calls it a bookstore, and you can see those books, but it's kind of I would almost say a magical like pharmacy. So along with like magic books and that, she also sells kind of remedies and stuff to help people. But there is something very special about this place. It's a regular, I would say regular store, but there's one very magical element of it, and there's a door there that is called the last door, and it's kind of a red door. Now, uh, this last door is where people who are kind of on their last leg, who are at rock bottom, will find themselves walking through into her shop. They may think they're going into, as we see a character in here, into a farmer's market. They open the door, they're in here, and that's how Wanda knows, like, this person especially needs my help. But Wanda is not alone, and that is one of the big things about this issue. This has the first appearance of Darcy Lewis, who is from the MCU. She was originally in Thor and then has been in a ton of stuff, including a pretty big part in WandaVision. So these characters, it's fun to see them together. She has appeared in comics before, but they were MCU tie-in books, like a prequel to Thor, or prequel to something like that. This is the first time in the comics main run universe of her appearance. And it feels like it's not just a throw in, there's a reason why she's here. You'll learn that as you get towards the end of this book. But the main part of this book is where someone walks through the door who is at kind of rock bottom because the town that she's from, someone new has come into that town. And to her, it definitely looks like an alien or someone magic. They have blue skin and they can kind of manipulate people. And even her wife has been brought into this, and so she's kind of been shunned because she doesn't fall for this thing. So you'll find out why she wasn't affected by this, and what Wanda is going to try and help her. Not Wanda swooping in and saving the day, but how Wanda helps this person, reclaim her own town. It's kind of the "I'll help you help yourself"
Hmm.
type thing. So it's very good. It feels like at least for a little while these are going to be mostly standalone stories about different people who walk through this door, but there does seem to be a through line that may start to come out of it, probably issue 3 or 4, something like that. Another fun thing in this, Pietro Quicksilver is in here. You get to see her interaction with him. For all, a really fun book. Not too earth shattering right at the beginning, but I feel like this has places it can go with her. So
Yeah, I mean, with her having it where she helps people at their lowest, you could write that on
yeah,
and
oh
on if you
yeah,
just have good story and character
yeah.
ideas.
It's kind of a it's almost the host of a Twilight Zone thing. Whose story is it going to be today as they come in? But it's still it's really cool. I enjoyed it. I feel like this is kind of an oversized first issue. I'm not sure, but it is 4.99, so it might be just a little bit thicker. This is our A cover from Russell Dodderman. We've got a lot. This is why I also think it's one of the big books of the week because it probably has the most variants. We have a gorgeous Adam Hughes variant that we figured out before what that's an homage of.
Yeah, with the West Coast Avengers one,
Yes.
yeah, where she turns into the Dark Scarlet Witch and she's holding them all in her hand like that.
Really cool to see Adam Hughes do like Wonder Man there and
Give her a
everything.
scarier expression
Yeah.
with the mouth.
We have the Howl variant, another really nice one. I mean, this is one of those characters that's like everybody's got a Scarlet Witch they want to draw. We've got this is the Casa Grande variant. And she does also, it says that this is a new suit if you look it up. It kind of looks like her regular suit, but I think just a couple little details change. We have a blank red or scarlet variant. We have the Riley window shades variant. We have the Okazaki demonized variant, which I feel like is a thing that could actually happen to her. And finally, we have this 1 in 25 Laraz variant that we're selling to our customers for $20. Very nice.
Yeah, interesting that they're in an ongoing series.
Yeah, yeah, I feel like we're just seeing the beginning of a big uh, rising of the ranks for Scarlet Witch.
Okay, so instead of starting with Batman, which is really cool and I can't wait to talk about it, I'm going to start with the number one, also from Marvel. It is Joe Fixit number one. This is by writer Peter David, who, of course, has written so much Hulk, including some Joe Fixit in the past, and artist Yildiray Sinar does the interior arts. So this is set back when Hulk was Joe Fixit Hulk. This is not a current story, okay? So it's set back then, which I don't mind at all because it's a mini series. It's a
Yeah.
5 issue mini series. They're just going to give you another story about this character. I don't know if too many people know about Joe Fixit Hulk. So he's Gray Hulk. He's smart. He likes to wear a suit. He hangs out in Las Vegas. He's a good guy, though. He is a good guy. So he works at Coliseum Casino, which is obviously supposed to be Caesar's Palace.
Yeah.
And in this, Peter Parker's in this as well. He is visiting Las Vegas promoting a photography book. He's not the only other Marvel character in this, though, because the Kingpin has also just arrived in Vegas for nefarious purposes.
Hulk and Kingpin, both kind of the same size dudes walking up on each
Well,
other.
I think you might like to read this because Kingpin goes to the casino where Joe Fixit works. People don't know it's Hulk, for one thing. And in
Hmm.
fact, Peter Parker, he knows it is, and he's thinking, how do people not know this? Oh, well, for one thing, his skin is gray.
Yeah.
Secondly, this guy, he's more of like a smooth talker.
Mhm.
He quips. Hulk doesn't quip. You get some good Joe Fixit quipping in this, but Kingpin tries to put some pressure on the Coliseum Casino, and him and Joe Fixit, they go toe to toe in this.
Awesome.
They have a fight, and there is a clear winner. Have we ever seen Hulk versus Kingpin
Yeah, not that I can
I mean,
think
there
of.
might be one in Marvel's history, but none that I can think of. So, you know, this is not just, oh, they get mad at each other and that's the end. They have a full on fight. There is a clear winner, but I will say the battle has just begun. You will see a winner of the fight, but the battle has just started. And Peter Parker, he was only going to be in town a little while. Looks like he's going to have to stay a lot longer. So I liked it. This is not an earth-shattering comic. It is just a clearly written. Peter David's a pretty master writer. This
Yeah.
just feels like this is the way a comic should be
Mhm.
written. It's just fun to read, a pleasure to read. You get all the details. You get a few laughs, a few exciting moments. The art also just sort of clear, that just sort of typical comic style art that you want. Both of those good to above average. So I enjoyed Joe Fixit #1, and that is what it is like, and that is, I think my description will let you know if you want to read it or not.
I really like Marvel's thing they've been doing where they go back to really iconic time frames in their characters and are doing miniseries there. 'Cause it's like, why not? You can do that. You can do uh, the new Fantastic Four with Wolverine and Ghost Rider because there's fans of those specific time frames.
Yep, that is true. So we got two variants here. We have the Todd Knock variant, which I think works really well, especially the font he uses on the Joe Fixit name.
Yeah.
And then we also have this Riley window shades variant. Now notice, whereas I think Hulk already had one where he's like busting through
Yeah.
it. This guy, nah, he's a little sneakier.
Cool. So my next one is one that it's kind of far into the series, but I just wanted to talk about it. This is Joker, the Man Who Stopped Laughing, #4. And I don't know how many people out there are reading this, but this is one of the wildest books right now, and especially with this issue. So it's kind of been hinting at there's multiple Jokers, but we don't really know, is this the multiple Jokers from like the Jeff Johns Three Jokers, or is this someone who has done something to them to make them look like a Joker? Well, whichever Joker this is, goes into Gotham General Hospital to a very like a children's sick ward, like a cancer ward, and it's just he says some really messed up things, but also he's kind of presenting himself as a clown, like he's doing jokes, he's slipping. It's very odd. The kids kind of laugh at him, but you can tell they're also very creeped out by him. But there's a few moments in here that will really kind of send you for a loop, especially one where Joker actually picks up the comic that one of the kids are reading, and in it he says, "Oh, why is Power Girl at my funeral in this? They don't have the rights to put me in here." And then one of the kids goes, "Well, that's not you." And he's like, "Well, of course it's me. Then who is this?" And he shows it, and it's Superman. And I was telling Jason about this, like, I don't know if this is a joke, but it is a very odd thing to put in here. If it was a joke, I feel like it'd be a little bit faster, but it's actually like a full page of this. So there's some very weird stuff going on here. Um, but this, it seems like there's, you have Red Hood who is chasing the Joker down in this as well. But just seeing Joker kind of interact with these kids, very interesting. So if you're not reading it, I suggest maybe flipping through this one because it's a very interesting read for Joker, the Man Who Stopped Laughing, #4. And we've got some variants for this. This is the DeMio variant. We have the Bermejo, which I feel like Bermejo's been having a real good time with this, especially with that last Christmas cover he did. And we have a 1 in 25 Nguyen variant that we're selling to our customers for $15.
Okay, so let's talk about Batman issue 131. This is the beginning of a new story arc, with the not so new creative team anymore. They've done a whole story arc of Chip Zdarsky, but the art in this one's done by Mike Hawthorne. So this story arc is called The Batman of Gotham, but Batman has a hyphen. So, you know, they're getting at something different. So I can tell you some things which won't spoil it for you. For one thing, last issue, it ended the failsafe thing with failsafe shooting Batman with a gun that he got from the Fortress of Solitude. We don't know what the gun is. We don't know what it was capable of. Failsafe could have also changed it. And all we knew was that it didn't kill him. We knew he woke up somewhere. We weren't sure where. You will see where in this issue. It is somewhere from his past that is dark and familiar, not the cave. But what I will go ahead and tell you, because it'll just sort of whet your appetite for the story, this is a multiverse story. He wakes
Oh,
up in a different Gotham, and there's a lot of changed and different characters. There's a different Harvey Dent, there's a different Catwoman, there's a different Jim Gordon, a very different Jim Gordon. Wait till you see that one. Um, but there are some first appearances. But bear in mind, this is a multiverse
yeah.
story. So there's a first appearance of a character called Red Mask. Now, this could just be the multiverse version of Black Mask.
Hmm.
Not in enough to really say yet, but seems like an important character for this, possibly the main villain of this arc. We will see. But there's also a new character named Jewel who helps Bruce, and you get the idea this may be a Robin, a new Robin, possibly.
Hmm.
No outfit yet, but just the right age. I
Yeah.
hate to say, sorry, Batman. When they're a certain age, you know they're going to be a Robin.
Yeah.
But this new character, Jewel. So two first, but it's a multiverse story. The interesting part is seeing these different versions of these characters. Bruce trying to figure out, okay, what is this multiverse? What's the why was I sent here?
Yeah.
Failsafe picked it out for a reason. And when you find out why by the end of this issue, I think you'll be pretty interested. I know I am. I don't mind a bit that this is sort of a take Bruce and put him in a different
Yeah.
area story. I'm really interested to see what this gets at because this seems like Failsafe is getting at some deep psychological stuff, which that's sort of some of the things that elevate Batman
Hmm.
against sort of non-dark superhero tales as it goes into the dark psyche of Bruce Wayne because that's you know the darkness is what created Batman.
Yeah.
So anyhow, that's what's going on in the A story. There is also a secondary story by Zdarsky again with art by Mendonça about the aftermath from other people's perspective, mainly Tim Drake. So Tim Drake's kind of blaming himself for what happened to Batman, but Dick Grayson visits and they have a talk about it because Tim Drake is convinced that Batman is not dead and he is trying to find out more about the gun, trying to find how can he locate him. So that's sort of the backup story there. So already a whole lot going on in the new arc of Batman right out the gate, which is exactly what we want to see. I knew I'd have a lot to say on this one, and more when you read it, so much more, especially on the multiversal versions of the other characters.
It's really smart, I think, when they if there's a new artist that they also change locations. It kind of breaks it up so you don't feel like it's very choppy. It's like, well, this is this one, and then we go. I think Jimenez is coming back after the new story arc
After
after
this arc.
this, and I'm guessing it probably goes back to the main timeline. It's I
Mhm.
feel like that's a smart way to not make it feel jumpy.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. So here is our variants. We have the germ variant. We have the Fabach and Anderson variant. Try to get not to glare so much. We've got the 1 in 25 Nakayama variant. We're selling to our customers for $15. That's cool. Yeah, a lot of glare on this today, though. And then the 1 in 50 foil
Ooh,
version of the Art Germ variant we're selling to our customers for $25.
that one's really cool too. Almost looks like a wine spill that you're like, it looks like Batman.
Get it on eBay quick.
Okay, so my next one is issue 30 of Star Wars. I've been excited about this one. Issue 29, we left our heroes. They uh, went to an auction to try and get this um, hyperdrive back from the High Republic era that was going to help them find some supplies that have been lost because the rebellion really needs these supplies, and this is kind of a last ditch effort. There's been rumors of this like lost cargo freighter out there. They think this is going to be how they get to it. Well, in the last one, they used it, and that brought them to the old Nile base called No Space. So, if you've been reading the High Republic, some of that may sound familiar. What's interesting about this, No Space is basically I feel like they're trying to say it's the Bermuda Triangle of Star Wars. It's like you can only get there, like it seems, with this hyperdrive they got from a long time ago, and when they try to get out of it, it basically just takes them right back there. Like they can't escape this, and it is a floating island in space where the edges look like they just drop off into space, but it has some kind of gravity and some kind of uh, breathable air. So really cool to put the Star Wars characters in something that's even unfamiliar to them, a little sci-fi for them. Now, when they're there, of course, they can't get out. They have an idea of how they're going to get out, but that's going to take some time. So they thought, while we're here, we might as well explore. There could be that supplies that we've been looking for here, and that's when they run into a kid who is on this little floaty island thing who's got this spacesuit. He's using some strange words. He understands them, but it seems like he's kind of got like replacement words for some things. You'll have to see why. But I will say, with any Star Wars books, I like to point out first appearances. The first appearance of that kid, we don't know a whole lot about him yet, but it seems like he is from a colony that's stuck here. So that's what it kind of also feels like a Bermuda Triangle. All the people that have been sucked here maybe have set up some kind of unified group. Um, there's a lot that happens in this, but there is also another last page first appearance of a character that is not named. I would say is a cameo, but it is like we always say, you can tell when they want you to really notice the character. It is a full page, a lot of character, a lot of style in this character. So we'll have to wait till the next one to find out exactly who they are, but I know the species that he is. I was looking it up, and there's some interesting things about them that could be related back to the High Republic, a lot of stuff. So, really fun issue of Star Wars. If you've been reading it, if you've been reading the High Republic stuff, I think you'll definitely want to check this one out. Also got some variants. I love this one. This is the Windguard variant for the Lucasfilm anniversary, the episode 2. We've got the John Tyler Christopher action figure variant with Captain Panaka from episode 1. And we have what is another first appearance in this book, but it's kind of like first appearance of a style of a thing because it is a Nile kind of battle droid, and this is a 1 in 10 uh, Genolette design variant. We're selling to our customers for $20. And there's some kind of telltale signs of the Nile on there, like he's got these scratches on his forehead. That's a thing they use. So very cool. And this will be the first appearance of this droid. They are in the issue as well. Oh, I also wanted to say there is a second printing of Star Wars: The High Republic #2 that shows off these new characters that appeared in that issue. They are the Twinkle sisters, as very fitting. Uh, but this was a big issue, so there is a second printing of it with this new cover featuring first cover appearance of these characters.
Okay, so here is a new one. Shang-Chi, Master of the Ten Rings, and look at the top left corner. It says #1. So this must be a new ongoing series. It's
I
going to go 100+ issues.
feel like there's a
No,
there's a no
no.
coming.
So that's what our show's about. It really is like when you walk in your comic store, knowing what things are. This is actually a one shot, and this is the capstone, the end of Gene Yang's Shang-Chi series, which he had the one series, and then they restarted it because they wanted to put the Master of the Ten Rings in because of the movies. But it was just a continuation of that first series. And now they're doing this one shot to just end it, which I feel is super unnecessarily confusing. And I feel bad for all the kids, because this happened to me when I was a kid in the comics, who go in a store and they buy a #1, and they're like, "What? What is this? Where am I?" And then there's not even a #2. Still, good issue. I have no idea why you would buy this if you haven't been reading the Shang-Chi series that Dean Yang's been writing. The art is by Michael Yeig. That's just YG. I assume that's how you might pronounce that. I would kind of name that short. So easy to fill it in on tests. And the two bubbles you have to fill in. Okay, so in this issue, Shang-Chi with his crew, they've been trying to turn the gang his family's a part of into a good organization. Well, they find out that some people are trying to bring back Zheng Zhu, who is Shang-Chi's evil father, and they're doing this by digging up his bones because, of course, you gotta have the bones, and they're doing some ritual. So Shang-Chi and his people show up, and something happens. You'll have to read to see what, where Shang-Chi gets yanked through a portal, and he is back in time to his father's time, but it's when his father was much younger, like not like a little kid, but like a young adult. And he ends up having to team up with his father and the original members of the Five Deadly Weapons because they go up against colonialists, and he kind of learns his dad was not always this bad guy. Like people aren't just born villains. He was actually a very good man for a long time, and he has to reconcile this. And I have read this series, so I understand why Gene Yang would want to end it this way. A lot of it was sort of breaking apart the character of his father and grandfather and what their positions were, and were they really evil the whole time or were they not. So it's a really good ending to this, putting him there and having to meet him at this different time in his life, or having to determine, what am I going to do about you now? It has a real ending, a good ending. But once again, I have no idea why you'd want to
Why
pick
you
this
didn't just
up.
make it the next issue in
Correct.
the
The,
main
the, the
numbering?
next issue in the main numbering. So I just want everyone informed about that because I just think it's publisher trickiness, hoping they could get a few extra sales. But I mean, ultimately, I think that's bad because it's just going to cause somebody to go, well, what can I trust? When it
Yeah,
says number one and it's not really a number one, it is clearly a one shot that shouldn't even be a one shot.
yeah.
So
Not even have a weird subtitle on it or something like the end or
right,
something like
yeah.
that.
So anyhow, anyway, that's what our show's about, informing you. So good issue, great writing, good art. If you're reading Shang-Chi, you will not be disappointed. If you're not reading Shang-Chi, follow my advice, don't be disappointed. As far as the variant, we have the Wilson variant for it.
Okay, so my next one is one that I'm excited to talk about. Uh, I have enjoyed Spider-Man. This is the Adjectiveless Spider-Man by Dan Slott and Mark Bagley. But this issue in particular is very interesting. So there'll be kind of a minor spoiler in here because I've got to tell you about a first appearance, and then I've got to explain the first appearance if you don't understand it. Uh, so in the previous issue, this all has to do with the end of the Spider Verse. Um, they've been going around this kind of Yellow Jacket themed character. Uh, has been, or Wasp, I don't remember which one he is. Has been going around and kind of severing people from the web of life, and they've been dissolving. That happened to Peter Parker in the last one. So, kind of the chosen one out of all the Spider-Men is gone. That leaves the rest of the team, uh, especially Felicia Hardy's Spider character, Night Spider, and a lot of the newer ones, wondering what are they going to do now that it seems like their only hope just dissolved. Um, so there is a plan that the new Spider UK and a few of the other ones have concocted, because they are going to get what they say is, I believe they call it the prototype Spider-Man. So this is a little bit of a spoiler warning for this character, but I feel like this will sell the book. So the character that they go and get is the Spider-Man without the hyphen, who is his secret identity is Peter Palmer. Now, if you don't understand that, uh, if you see this character in here, he looks like very old style art juxtaposed with the regular Mark Badley art. Because Spider-Man's first appearance, Amazing Fantasy 15, set up his origin, said he was Peter Parker. The weird thing happened when Amazing Spider-Man #1 came out. He was a hit, and they said give him an ongoing series, and he got Amazing Spider-Man #1. But for some reason, there's plenty of articles about like why did this happen. Stan Lee put his name as Peter Palmer. Very odd. Just kind of forgot what he had named him at the time. This was only his second appearance. But because of that, they now say this is the first kind of multiversal Spider-Man. So they go back to retrieve him. There's places calling this the first appearance of Peter Palmer Spider-Man without the hyphen. Now, that can be debated. Is his actual first appearance Amazing Spider-Man #1, or is it this? It was never intended to be a different character in that one, but they're making it one, so this is kind of his first appearance. That you can debate upon. But he is kind of a little bit more jerkish. He's kind of like that original Spider-Man. That's like his quips are a little bit on the just like obnoxious side. It's very funny, but it looks like he's going to be one of the keys to solving this whole ordeal. But there's another big surprise ending in this one that I won't reveal, but raises a lot of questions. Even like the next issue, it's like, what's going on? Because there's another big surprise. But had to explain that so you know that this is possibly the first appearance of Peter Palmer Spider-Man. He even corrects them. He said, "You're saying it too slow. You're putting a pause between it. It's just Spider-Man, one word." So even he kind of points it out. So very cool issue for Spider-Man #4. We got a variant for this one, and this is the John Cassaday homage variant. So very, very cool.
Okay, so I read Poison Ivy issue number 8. So on the cover, you see it says "Friends in Low Places." So right away I was like, who are you talking about? And you see somebody's wearing hospital or bracelet, and it says the name Janet on there. So right away, okay, well, this isn't Harley, this isn't Selena Kyle, none of them, unless they're taking up a fake name, and it's not. So the character that this refers to is actually a character. It's not their first appearance in this. They were in an anniversary special a while back, not in this series, like an anniversary DC special. Not a superhero character, but somebody Ivy saved in a manner of speaking. She helped her ultimately. Well, in this issue, Ivy is in a lot of trouble. Okay, the CEO of that company that she was, the fracking company who she was trying to infiltrate, turns out is much more powerful than we thought. She caught Ivy last issue, and she has Ivy in a situation where if she can't get away, she is going to die. So Ivy must reach out to this character who there's even a footnote on where you can find this character, Ivy's first initial meeting, and she has to convince his character to help her to find this antidote, and it's going to be very dangerous to try to get this antidote away from the CEO woman. um, so you get this character story. Why is she there now? What's with her? Why is she in this low place? Because she does have a major problem and a real reason why helping Ivy could be very bad for her in her life. So it's a lot of Ivy trying to convince this person and trying to learn about this other person's life, and then seeing, will she help her, and if she does, what does she have to go through, and where does it all go? So that's what's going on in Poison Ivy issue number 8. And then we have the Recall variant, Ivy in her more Queen Ivy plant
Mhm.
form. We have the 1 in 25 Wolf Connolly variant that we're selling to our customers for $15.
My next one is Dark Knights of Steel #9. I believe this, yeah, this is 12. So we are getting to the final stretch of Dark Knights of Steel. And this is the issue. We want to say this is the issue we've been waiting for, but this is the big battle. If you've got a medieval style, fantasy style book, you want to get to the big battle of the armies, and that happens in this one. So very cool. But I'll say that I love that a book this far in can still have big surprises, and this one has uh, surprises that go all the way back to issue 1 of this, and will make you rethink characters that you thought you knew, and kind of reshape the entire um, the history that this is built around. So very cool. Also, in a previous one, Oliver Queen had lost his arm. So what does the world's greatest archer do when he's missing his arm? And how in this one does he make probably the most important shot that basically does the big reveal of everything. You don't have to read it to find out, but it's very cool, very action packed.
Can't help but think of Dark Knight Returns though.
Yeah,
So
yeah, no,
those
not
parameters were set in that as well,
yeah,
but
yeah. So that is our A cover for that. And we have the really cool Zafino variant with this very like Frazetta style Conan Batman.
okay, so I read Fantastic Four issue number 3. This is by writer Ryan North with art by Ivan Coella. So each issue's been following different members of the team, just in just one and done stories. And I bet you can't guess who this one's about. So yeah, Johnny Storm has kind of been missing since the end of the last series. Not that he was been abducted or anything. He went off on his own.
Hmm.
And in this, we learn that he has taken on a secret identity. He is sort of trying to hide in plain sight in a way, not in a superhero way, though. He's dyed his hair, he's grown out a mustache, a total new look for Johnny Storm. Wait till you see it. It's sort of comical. But he's also doing sort of a workaday job. He has a normal job at sort of a store. So, what happens in this issue? Where's the danger? Where's the drama? Where's the plot? Well, what happens is he learns that the store he's working for is actually owned by an old sort of villain rival who is treating the workers very bad. So, it's up to Johnny Storm in his new alter ego to band the workers together so that they can fight with this old rival to get better wages and better benefits. And that is really the thrust of this issue,
Hmm.
no joke. So that's what's going on in Fantastic Four number 3. And yes, he does flame up. He does use his superpowers as well.
Yeah.
So that's what's going on there. But I will say it also ends with sort of a certain person calling him, and it looks like Fantastic Four may be having to get back together next issue for
Mm.
something pretty important. So we have, as far as variant, we have the Alex Ross variant, and we also have this Jimenez homage variant.
Cool. Okay, funny that you just did a Ryan North book because I'm going to do a Ryan North book. That is Secret Invasion number 3. And I've been singing the praise of this book since issue 1. I will continue to do so because this is a really cool, very interesting book. So, where we left it last time, Maria Hill has been investigating uh, some possible scrolls that have maybe even popped up in the Avengers. She did find out that Black Widow was one in the last one and found like where the real Black Widow was. And the big surprise in the last issue, maybe Tony Stark is working with the Skrulls. So, thankfully, you only had to wait till this issue to find out the full story behind that because Maria Hill confronts Tony Stark about this, and we get the full reasoning for that and why it may not be so bad, but there could be worse things coming up. Now, what I think is really funny about this is before the series, what I mainly knew Ryan North for writing was Squirrel Girl. And this actually has a pretty big tie to Squirrel Girl. Funny enough, it's funny because Squirrel Girl is a very comedic, cartoony series. This is almost like legitimizing that series by taking some characters that appeared in that, pulling them into here, and kind of realizing how that all fits together. So there's definitely a throwdown between Maria Hill and Tony Stark. There is way more scrolls revealed, but there is something done on the final page that I did not see coming. It was a great page turn moment where you think it's going one way, uh, and then Maria Hill does something you will not believe. So definitely pick up Secret Invasion number 3. Continues to be a great book. And we've got some great variants for this as well. The anatomy variant, which I kind of like the idea that they have so many bones and that's how they like morph as their bones all move around. Very cool. And we have the Aspinall variant.
Okay, so I read Captain America Sentinel of Liberty #8. So this has the first appearance of a character who is named M.O.D.O.C. That's right, another M.O.D.O.C. This one, yeah, instead of the K, you get a C at the end. This one stands for Mental Organism Designed Only for Control. So I won't tell you what part they serve in this, but they definitely have something to do with the shield people, the outer shield people.
Outer ring.
The outer ring,
yeah.
yes. So
The outer shield.
I can everything about them, their symbol. I mean, that's what started the whole thing was Captain America's Shield's secret history. So the cover here says a favor from Emma Frost. Back in the Hellfire Gala, Emma Frost offered Captain America a favor. So in this book, he actually collects on that favor because he wakes up in Kansas missing 5 days. This is after him and his team went after the Outer Ring, and obviously didn't go perfect. Meanwhile, Manhattan Island has been sort of invaded by a bunch of AIM soldiers, and a shield has gone up around Manhattan Island where no one can get in or out. So a lot of bad things are happening there, and meanwhile, Cap is over in Kansas, missing 5 days of his life. So you can probably guess what he's going to go to Emma Frost for. I'll let you read to see how that plays out and how it may have something to do with this new M.O.D.O.C. character. The other big thing in this book, well, two more things. One is Cap relies upon the Captain's Network. If you remember that
Oh, bringing those
from
back.
yeah his road trip of meeting all the different Captain Americas from all different states, he uses that to for a few things. And then lastly, he realizes he needs some help, so he builds a new team of invaders. And the last page is you get to see who they all are, which it's a lot of characters you've seen in the last few issues, but it's still cool to see them all together. And he does Invaders Assemble. So, a lot of stuff going down in Sentinel of Liberty #8.
And we're still leading up to that big crossover between the two Cap books.
Correct. Yep. And so we have these two variants. It is the Phil Noto variant. That kind of shows you what
If you were wondering
process.
what his request was,
He just needed a massage on
a
his
temple
temples.
massage.
Yeah, really good one now. Yeah, super soldier needs a super massage. And then here is the Malieve homage variant.
Next up for me, I've got Gold Goblin #3. So you can see that up there at the top. This is a dark web tie-in. So there's a couple of things about this cover I'll point out. One, it takes place during dark web. I would not say it is really tied into dark web. It's mentioned what's going on, but in the fact that they do something and they're like, "Are you sure we should be doing this?" As like all this stuff is going on outside and things are turning into demons, they're like, "Oh, let's just go ahead and do it." The other thing is you see him fighting Queen Goblin on there. This also does not happen in this issue. Now, what does happen in this issue is Norman Osborn continues to be uh, haunted by uh, his his. Now that he knows that Queen Goblin is made of his sins, he is now kind of haunted by that fact that he pretty much is responsible for making her, and also she's kind of messing with him in the dreams about that he is still Green Goblin. So you get more of that internal Norman Osborn push and pull about is he actually bad or is he a good guy now? Um, the other interesting thing is he goes Normie, his grandson, has a birthday party, and the worst thing that happens, they hire a superhero to come. They say, "Oh, just any of them will work," and someone comes dressed up as Spider-Man, and this really triggers Norman. You have to read it to see how that goes. But lastly, Jack O' Lantern is in this one. So you have Gold Goblin versus Jack O' Lantern, but maybe not in the way you think. How does Gold Goblin deal with Jack O' Lantern as opposed to how Green Goblin would have? It's very surprising, but really cool to see that character back in here. So that is Gold Goblin #3, and we have a fantastic homage variant for that by J. Scott Campbell. So, very cool.
Okay, I read Avengers number 64. This is the fourth part of Avengers Assemble, which is sort of what Jason Aaron's entire Avengers series has been building towards. All the Avengers across the era, not every single one, but the modern team, the Avengers Million BC and such, teaming up to go against the multiversal Masters of Evil. The battle sort of started last issue and it continues deep into this issue. I mean, this is another issue of all battle, there's dialogue, people are talking, people are arguing, but it is mostly a battle issue. The art is done by Javier Garin. You get fights between Tony Stark and his father, Howard Stark. It starts with some technology and ends up with just a flat out fist fight, but a lot of talking and hashing out things between them. A lot of the characters take on sort of the venom of the multiversal Masters of Evil, because how powerful Venom can be. And Dark Phoenix is another one they're taking on. So just chock full of action and fighting and battles. This will be continued the next part in Avengers Forever issue number 13. So as far as variants, we have the Orly variant. We have the Art Germ variant, Dark Phoenix, and we have the Inhyokali homage variant.
Very
That looks
big,
great.
famous cover.
Yep.
Okay, and one that I did not get to read as deep as I wanted to, but I am going to sit down and really read it is Planet Hulk Worldbreaker. This is number 3. Uh, Mostly I want to reread it too because that is actually She-Hulk on the cover. You find out in this future timeline what has happened to She-Hulk and what role does she play in all of this, which is a pretty key role. So very cool. Can't wait to dig in deeper to this one. We've got some variants for this as well. We have this really nice Nick Bradshaw variant. And you can't have a Hulk book without an Ed McGuinness cover.
Okay, so also out this Wednesday is Captain Marvel issue 45. This is the third part of Revenge of the Brood, which I think the cover displays very well. So this, of course, is written by Kelly Thompson with art by Sergio Davila. And in this issue, so Captain Marvel and her team of X-Men friends, including Gambit, Psylocke, Laura Kinney, there's several others, they thought last issue that they had defeated the Brood. So this issue, they're having a celebration on top of this Shi'ar flagship, this luxury liner, and they're having a good old time. But guess what? The Brood are very tricky, and actually, they're in a trap. They're in sort of a Matrix style trap, and you get to see how they figure it out, which is really cool. Obviously, Gambit is very good for this part.
Yeah.
What happens when you're in a trap? You can't hold Gambit for too long.
Yeah.
So they're gonna have to try to fight their way out of this trap. Pretty cool issue. That is what's going on in Captain Marvel issue number 45. And variants, we have the Aka variant and the Carnero variant for that as well.
And last for me, just want to show off some really cool covers this week. First off, this is for X-Force number 36. We have this Rob Liefeld. I guess he's homaging himself.
Yep.
Uh, so very cool.
It's an updated cover. We'll say it's that.
That is a giant Omega Red next to that Domino, but yeah, kind of an updated version of that cover. And then we also
I think the original might have been Cable there.
yeah. And then we have X-Men Red number 10 by Russell Dodderman with that classic Dark Phoenix saga, right?
Yep.
It's the Dark Phoenix saga cover. So very cool. And I just love seeing there's something with the X-Men cover with that X-Men logo with the blue and the yellow. Just you don't get much more classic X-Men than that.
Okay, so real quick before we go, there were some other comics out this week that have not arrived at our shop. There is no UPS doesn't ship on Monday following New
Yeah.
Year's. It's New Year's observed for them, and so they're not going to get here till tomorrow. So some of these we're going to mention are here, but it's just we don't go over everything. But some of these are ones that are the indie books that haven't arrived yet. So let's just go through the list. So another book that's out this week is Gotham City Year One, issue number 4. So if you've been reading that, look for that on the stands as of tomorrow.
We also have Sword of Azrael #6.
And I believe that's the last issue
Yeah, I think
of
it
that
is.
mini series. Also coming out this week, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Armageddon Game, The Alliance #3. That's one of the offshoots
Hmm.
to the Armageddon game series.
I also have a new #1 called Children of the Black Sun. There's a lot of #1s for indie books this
There are
week.
4 indie #1s that I would have loved for us to go over. Like, it's all about that information to you, and unfortunately, they're not here today. Um, Another one coming out this week, the latest Bad Idea book, Escape from Wyoming, issue #3 is out this week.
Along with Hammerfall #1, which is a new book from Opus Press.
Mhm. Yep, Mosely #1. That's another of the indie books that isn't here yet. So look for that one.
Spawn 337.
Spy Superb #1. That's the last of the 4 indie #1s that are not here yet.
And far from a #1 is Walking Dead Deluxe #54, which I think has quite a few variant covers. I think that's a pretty big issue of
Mhm.
Walking Dead. So
Yeah, so that just kind of fills you in on all the other books that we did not go over. Some have not even arrived at our store yet. If you shop with us, though, they'll be here tomorrow. We'll have them up on the shelf as soon as Wednesday. So, anyhow, thank you for watching. I hope that you have enjoyed and we've done our job properly of arming you with the knowledge of what these books are about when you go to your comic store this week. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button. We appreciate that. We'll be back on Friday with comics from the future.
yes.
So have a great week, and we will see you then.